This is Terry Elston welcoming you to this audio training book on leadership. On this recording, there will be some correlations between management and leadership, yet it really doesn't matter as long as you, as a leader, get the results that you want. To start with, I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference between engagement versus old school managing or leadership. And then, after that, in true neuro-linguistic programming style, I'm going to give you some tools and processes so you're able to lead your teams or a staff effectively. So let's start with some facts. Now, employees with the highest level of commitment perform at least 20% better and are 87% less likely to leave the organization, which indicates that engagement is linked to organizational performance. Now, this may seem pretty obvious to most of us, yet perhaps it's not on the balance sheets or in the boardroom meeting agenda because it's painfully missing in the approach of how to lead and motivate staff. For example, at the beverage company of Molson Coors, it was found that engaged employees were 5 times less likely than non-engaged employees to have a safety incident, and 7 times less likely to have a lost time safety incident. So the company saved over $1.5 million in safety costs in 2002. And on the sales side of your balance sheets, which your accountant should be very interested in, the low versus high engagement teams totaled over $2 million plus for the high engagement teams. Now, you should be sitting up and listening at this point here and also asking, well, what is engagement? We'll get on to that, but I think you get the idea about the internally motivated staff. And there's a tendency among leaders when things are tough to look at their top performers to get things done. It seems to be the greatest scope for productivity growth really is in those middle ranks. And when you think about this, it starts to make sense because your top performers are likely performing at or close to their optimal effectiveness. This group, being the ones that deliver to a high standard, can get additional demands placed upon them to provide more and more output. The greatest number of people in any organization is the middle core, however, operating at a satisfactory or average level. Now, if you can, as a leader, harness discretionary effort in this group, a real step change will happen in the organization. Therefore, as a leader, you need to be able to inspire and uplift the whole workforce, not just the top tier. When working with a large pharmaceutical organization, one of the first things that I consulted them to achieve alongside the leadership training program was a training for all the sales teams, including a one-to-one coaching talk to increase engagement within the organization. I focused more on the middle to low performers to get more productivity, and every single member of staff that had those meetings increased their productivity. That's because as soon as we started to meet their needs, the level of engagement went right up. So we mustn't forget we can't take out of the equation that we're all human beings with our own personal desires and needs. And sometimes that doesn't get supplied in the role that they're doing within the company or with the normal scope of managing or leading. The effects of poor leadership and management in an organization can be huge, from missing objectives.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?